My name is Sheila Carino. Welcome to the Knowledge Vault, and we are picking up where we left off. Handbook for the New Paradigm, Volume 2, Embracing the Rainbow, session number 21, page 197, if you are following along in the book with me. And it begins, there is a point of personal discussion that must be reached. Oh my. That must be reached. That's very interesting. I just got notified of something that's very interesting. So there is, so sorry, I was distracted. There is a point of personal decision that must be reached by each individual that chooses to become involved in this project. It must be understood that once the commitment is made, it will change the perspective. Yes, it does. The way in which the experience of situations and relationships are comprehended. Yes, it certainly does. It gives one a whole new perspective of seeing things from another, not just another's point of view, but most of the time what I'm seeing is their woundedness, right? For me, right? In relationships, in comprehending things. For me, I see now, oh my, that's what's driving that. And that makes all the difference in the world in things for me. Anyway, if the commitment is real, it will be as if you are observing from a greater perspective. Very true. It will be as if there is a split reality. Oh, that's very true. The daily experience will be the same, yet an observational dimension will seem to be added. This is very true. The observation mode will be experienced as an ability to understand how various past and present knowledge and experience fit into a fluid puzzle picture. Well, yes. There will be a realization that reality as known has changed. It will be observed that the pieces of the puzzle are not firm. That's why I kind of describe it as, so it's very multidimensional, because I see where you put in this piece and now it melts and becomes actually a brand new puzzle even. And sometimes it doesn't, depending on what you're looking at and what you're moving through, for me anyway, right? I'm going to read this again. It will be observed that the pieces of the puzzle are not firm and do not come together into a recognizable static picture. Instead, the pieces are of a gelatinous nature and are moving and flowing in constantly changing patterns. Too true. In the perception of this process, it is then possible to conceive that certain rigid insertions cause the ebb and flow to be influenced to form rigid dam-like structures restricting the freedom of the natural flow. If maintained within the human individual flow of changing patterns, this brings on the end of the experience, as the life force must continue to express in a free-flowing fashion, or it is withdrawn. This is also true within a larger group concept. Oh, wow. I was just showing something huge about that. Yeah. Oh, okay. Huh. I'm going to read that again. There will be a realization that reality as known has changed. It will be observed that the pieces of the puzzle are not firm and do not come together into a recognizable static picture. Instead, the pieces are of a gelatinous nature and are moving and flowing in constantly changing patterns. By the way, that is attached to what Lisa and I and BZ, when we were first talking about the pre-matter template, the thoughts, the contemplations, the intentions, the intensity of emotions is what creates. And as it changes and is fluid, said reality, said puzzle pieces are changeable and changing patterns and gelatinous. This makes perfect sense to me. In the perception of this process, it is then possible to conceive that certain rigid insertions cause the ebb and flow to be influenced to form rigid dam-like structures. Beliefs, anyone? Restricting the freedom of the natural flow. If maintained within the human individual flow of changing patterns, this brings on the end of the experience. And I'm taking this to mean if I'm not open to seeing that it is in that way, then it brings on the end of the experience, as the life force must continue to express in a free-flowing fashion, or it is withdrawn. Being one who is on its way off the planet, I can tell you that that's a true statement. The life force will begin to be withdrawn from the body. This is also true within a larger group context, and or concept, and I that was what I was shown in regards to other groups and things that I've participated in. And once the energy is, once there's a rigid belief system that this is this way and it can be no other way, that starts to form something that isn't conducive to that creative flow, is what I was showing, even in a group situation, right? When it is possible to encompass this concept of the elementary need to express, that is at the very essence of creation, then it can be understood that the halting of this flow of progress and any plan to reverse it causes chaos. Within the mind's eye, it is like a flow of multiple artists' colors flowing together and yet staying separate and spreading out. At one place, the colors are moving in a slow swirl and beginning to coagulate and intermingle in a darkening manner that is not consistent. As the watcher observes from overview position, it is apparent that this coagulated point cannot stop the flow that is moving all around it. The flow will continue to move around it and leave it behind. If the consistency of this coagulated energy can be softened, it can again rejoin the flow. Wow. I've actually experienced this in the physical. This concept that's being produced here, and I'm being shown how real that is. The job of softening and dissolving this dark and coagulated energy is the object and purpose of these messages. If the beliefs of the mass consciousness of this planet can be changed and a new paradigm of experience conceived and accepted, the dark and coagulated energies will dissolve and the expansive flow of creation will be restored. I'm going to pause this here and say I would like to interject it to say, again, this was written some time ago, that I feel we are seeing that has happened, that these beings who have seen and come into contact with this prior to me even have been holding this. There's many who have been holding this sort of energy, right? Within the flow of creation, the knowledge that is lived into wisdom moves through stages of what is truth within the vibrational/dimensional realms of experience. As knowledge becomes wisdom, then these conceptual lines of delineation are passed, and the old concepts are outdated and no longer applicable, which is part of what I have always said, that power over others is no longer supported on this planet. And it feels like this statement is part of that. It becomes no longer applicable because power over other is a concept that is outdated. Nobody likes to have power over other. I mean, not really, not at its core, not when there's many of us that are, dealing with that right now, right? Power over other periods in all many manners of ways, right? There's that whole energetic is no longer supported. So back to the book here, as transplanted humanity became aware that something must curb their overstimulated aggressive tendencies, religion was conceptualized. With the genetic balance returned, now it is time for those humans to leave this concept behind and begin to conceptualize the causative factors that brought them into manifested experience. They must conceive on the larger scale what it is that maintains not only their individual focus, but also the larger focus of the galactic environment of their life. It is time to return to citizenship on a grander scale. All of this must be bitten off, chewed, and digested in a very large bite. Why so quickly? 2 reasons. First, all previous opportunities to do this were refused. Secondly, sometimes the medicine in one large bitter pill is more effective than all the small ones. And that's the end of number 21. I'll be right back with number 22. May you move toward that which brings you joy in each moment that presents itself to you. It really is just a matter of perspective. And if you can't see another way, slow yourself down, step up on a rock, survey, observe. Perhaps you've missed a perspective that you could more readily and easily and more joyfully move towards. Be well, my friends. Till next time.